Detectives are shocked by what she did to the toddler. The strange case of Hannah Wesche. In March 2018, Jason West dropped off his 3-year-old daughter, Hannah, at her babysitter's house. It was their routine for 8 months since they lived in the same neighborhood. Jason would drive past on his way to work and pick Hannah up at the end of the day. However, on this particular day, things took a drastic turn. Just minutes down the road, Jason received a panicked call from the babysitter. Hannah had collapsed and was unresponsive. This news bewildered Jason. How could the healthy girl he saw moments ago suddenly collapse? Hannah West was born on January 11, 2015, to parents Jason West and Adrienne Lom. Jason had been a single father to Hannah for most of her life, as her mother, Adrienne, was arrested for heroin-related offenses. Hannah was born addicted to heroin due to her mother's substance abuse during pregnancy. Despite her difficult start, Hannah grew into a lively toddler who brought joy to her father's life. Jason's world revolved around his daughter, and he did everything for her. 2 of Hannah's favorite activities were eating cereal and watching television with her dad. When she was about 2 years old, Jason and Hannah moved to a new home in Hamilton, Ohio, where Jason found a job at a nearby construction company. With Jason working full-time, he needed someone to care for Hannah during the day. That someone was Lindsay Parton, a seemingly qualified and trustworthy babysitter who lived nearby. Lindsay, a mother herself, had an associate degree in preschool education and worked as a bookkeeper and Mary Kay consultant. She started babysitting Hannah in 2017, charging Jason $30 a day for her services. However, Jason often struggled to keep up with payments due to financial constraints. Unbeknownst to him, Lindsay was going through personal turmoil, including a miscarriage and relationship issues. In the lead-up to the March incident, Lindsay's personal struggles intensified. Despite this, Hannah's grandfather noticed bruises on her chest, which Lindsay attributed to a fall. Jason, trusting Lindsay, didn't find this unusual, considering Hannah's energetic nature. On the morning of March 8th, Jason dropped Hannah off as usual, but shortly after, Lindsay called frantically, reporting Hannah's collapse. Jason rushed back to Lindsay's house, urging her to call 911. During the call, Lindsay mentioned a fall the previous day but denied causing Hannah's injuries. First responders arrived, but it was too late. At the hospital, Hannah was pronounced dead, shocking her family and the community. Suspicion fell on Lindsay, who was questioned by detectives but released due to insufficient evidence. In subsequent interrogations, Lindsay changed her story multiple times, admitting that Hannah had fallen at her house before collapsing. However, without concrete evidence, Lindsay was not charged immediately. The investigation continued, unraveling the tragic events leading to Hannah's death, leaving her family seeking justice for their beloved daughter. In the morning, walking in the house, yes, tell us about it. Take us through it. So, when I opened up the door, she was coming through and she slipped on that concrete step and the metal part. She hit the metal part on her eye, which is the door going into the house, the carpet. So, I got her back up and she stood up and looked up at me and did say, "I want donut and couch," and then collapsed. So, you know you're very aware of some bruises. Oh yeah, I look like pebble bruises. This for when she fell. She literally, so she had on, cowboy boots with the heels, yeah, and Vivian took off running, and I was kind of behind them, far behind them. I should have been up closer. Well, we'll get into all that. We're gonna show you some pictures, okay? But, so we just kind of want you to point out all the bruises and all the small little nicks and scratches that you were aware of and exactly how they happened and all that. Got for okay. That may or may not be easy to look at, you know? Just start off just to give you with the pebbles that you talking about when she fell. It's not pebbles. I mean, It's a gravel driveway, like it's not pebbles. It's TJ just redid it, and it's rocks. Yeah, it's rocks. It's not pee. Yep, it's exactly where she fell, and on her chin her hand didn't even hit. Like what she was doing. And I can show you how she was running like this, and then look back and went like that. Literally, did she slide? No, it was just bam, bam. Yeah, she got right back up and kept her. I said, "Hey, are you okay?" "I'm okay." So all these small little bruises and the ones on the chin, yes, I know about those right there. And even the one, yes, the one on the chin, yep, and the yep, from that, yes, okay, yes, the yes, up under her chin like that, so she extended Prit Fair, she went like that. Yeah, the detectives had now gotten some more information out of Lindsay, but they still didn't feel they were getting the full truth. A trip on the concrete step could not have caused all of her injuries. And why they raised this issue with Lindsay, she again changed her story. She now said that she was carrying Hannah when the pair of them fell, indicating that she had fallen on Han, and Hannah's head had hit the metal part of the concrete step. Still, this didn't explain the bruising, so the detectives asked again, the doctor said. When this injury occurred, she was out in aughts. She was, that's not what happened, that's not what happened. It was a more severe accident that happened, that just like this accident, you're afraid to tell us for reason, okay? I'm not afraid to tell you anything. Well, you were afraid to tell us that we got through that and we're going to get through this. This okay? Because that's what we're doing. Yeah. So tell us. That's not what happened. It is she essy up. No. Okay, I did not. She didn't fall 12 in and traumatically bruise her. She falls to the point where they have to cut a piece of first skull to relieve pressure. It's not what happened, especially on the bones right here are extremely weak. In order to do that much damage, they're weak. They're weak for a reason. No, all of they're weak for reason. They break because they're like pearl zones in a car. That's why they break. No broken bones here. Okay? And absolutely did not do that. Even the surgeon said that. Okay? So that's not what happened to tell us what really happened. That's really what happened. That's not what happened. We're beyond that. I don't know what else to say. Listen, you tell us that. She's on top of a toy. Okay? And she falls face first the day before. Yeah, gets up and goes on about her biness. Nothing never happened. So the next day she falls into a step that's probably this tall up off the ground. She's this tall. That's what she flay. Okay, you have kids. Yeah, we have kids. Yeah, you really think that her full in 12 and hitting her eye is going to make her brain sming? No, that's what I don't understand, right? Because that's something more traumatic. Something more, I believe you. But I did not hurt her. Well, we're not saying you hurt her. We're saying you were there for the accident. Yeah, that's exactly what happened. And that was not the accident. That's not what it is. You know that without a doubt, okay? She has no broken bones in her face, okay? I mean, this is a common thing to get broken when somebody's head falls, okay? That's not broken. Breaks easily to protect your brain. Yeah, okay? I thought there's no broken. So that's not what happened, okay? You know, we've come a long way. We got past that, okay? You're right there. You're right there. Thank you. When I opened the door, I dropped her, and so I slipped on her blanket. I opened the door and we both went down, and she hit that con step really hard, holding her on the left side when I slipped. Hit her side, I actually hit my head on the door, coming down, but she her face, her head really on, that is. When Lindsay said that after they fell, Hannah began crying for her father, so she shook her. She told them that her head had snapped back and forth, and even mentioned possibly dropping the little girl during this, As the detective still pushed further, Lindsay once again shifted things around. She said that before Hannah had fallen, she was crying for her father, and this caused Lindsay to shake her until she stopped crying. As for the bruising, which doctors noted was at different stages of healing, Lindsay admitted to smacking and punching Hannah a few times in the days before March 8th. She told the detectives about her problems, like her miscarriage and relationship trouble, and said that she had been under a high amount of stress. So when Hannah grabbed a bottle of ketchup and squirted it down the toilet, Lindsay said she lost her temper. Lindsay Parton was promptly arrested and charged with assault, and child endangering. A search warrant was executed to go through Lindsay's devices. And when this was approved, some interesting discoveries were made on March 7th at around 9:00 a.m. She Googled how to get rid of a bruise. She then deleted the search at her first court appearance. Lindsay pleaded not guilty to the charges. She posted bond later that day and was released awaiting trial. Hannah's condition continued to worsen, and on March 18th, 10 days after the incident, she passed away. This was now a homicide case. Lindsay Parton's trial began in April 2019. It lasted 8 days and saw various medical professionals take the stand to testify on Hannah's injuries, one of whom stated that the injury she suffered would have happened right before she fell unconscious, meaning Hannah could not have been walking around with this injury beforehand. The footage from the interrogation rooms was played for the court, with the prosecution highlighting the multiple times Lindsay lied to detectives. So, what is Lindsay's defense? Despite the detailed confession she had made to the authorities, Lindsay now claimed the confession had been coerced out of her. She said they had pushed her to admit to hurting Hannah because if she didn't, Jason would likely be prosecuted for his own daughter's death. However, there was a major problem with this claim. It still didn't address what caused Hannah's injuries. Lindsay doubled down on what she had first told the detectives. Hannah was absolutely fine when she walked in. Nothing happened in her home, and then she collapsed. Lindsay also said that the mentions of her previously smacking Hannah were not true either. Melinda Cook Howard was representing Lindsay for the defense, and it's not entirely surprising to hear who they chose to blame. Melinda argued that Jason was the one who inflicted the injuries on Hannah, saying he was emotionless when pictures of her were shown during the testimony, and that he had lied to investigators about getting milk at Walmart on March 7th. Jason said this was nothing more than him getting his times confused with all the stress of what was happening with Hannah, but Melinda said it was him forming some sort of alibi. It is interesting to note that Jason readily accepted a polygraph test when offered by the authorities, which he passed. Lindsay refused to take one. While the results cannot be used in a trial, they do raise questions about which party felt guilty. After closing statements, the jury deliberated for 12 hours. Lindsay Parton was found guilty on charges of murder. She received a sentence of life in prison, which has a mandatory term of 15 years and an additional 36 months for the child endangering charges. Lindsay will only be eligible for parole after serving 18 years behind bars. All the while, Lindsay Parton, shackled in an orange jail jumpsuit, shows no emotion. That is, until her friends and family plead for the judge to show mercy following the verdict. Lindsay's legal team announced their intention to appeal her conviction. She's an upstanding citizen, mother and wife, and has the support of her community. Parton maintains her innocence and plans to appeal. Her attorney, Melinda Cook Howard, said Lindsay's cousin also spoke, saying, "I think there have been errors made in this case. We believe that Lindsay is innocent, and we will be looking into appeal, and we believe that justice will be served, and in the end, the truth will come out about what really happened to Hannah." Her family and attorneys say Parton maintains her innocence. "We believe that Lindsay is innocent, and we will be looking into appeal." Jason also reacted to the conviction, expressing his deep anger towards Lindsay for what she did to Hannah. I hope she never gets out of jail for what she did to my daughter. I hope and pray every single day that you get the same treatment in jail that you showed my daughter," he said. "It's rough never being able to see my daughter again, never being able to talk to her, hold her, touch her, sleep with her, play with her. It's rough." In October 2019, an appeal was filed on Lindsay's behalf. It alleged legal errors and claimed Lindsay had received ineffective assistance from counsel. The appeal stated this was because Lindsay's team had not effectively filed a motion to suppress her interrogation statements to investigators from being submitted into evidence. It also brought up supposed undisclosed information by the state prosecution. The state filed its response in January 2020 and maintained that Lindsay's own confessions and the various expert witnesses support her conviction and therefore the appeal should not be granted. Judge Robert Ringland sided with the state, finding they had provided sufficient evidence to convict Lindsay Parton of the crimes. The most recent update came in September 2022 when Lindsay spoke to metro.co.uk. She explained how much she misses her daughters and dreads going to sleep each night since she knows she will dream of being with them, only to wake up disappointed the next morning realizing where she is. "I want the world to know I am implicitly innocent. I would never hurt anyone, especially a child," Lindsay says. She mentioned possible warning signs of Hannah's poor health in the weeks leading up to her death, saying she had a headache almost every day and wanted to nap more often than usual. Lindsay claimed she made Jason aware of this, and he said it might be Hannah's allergies acting up. As for what happened on March 8th, Lindsay maintains she had nothing to do with Hannah's death. "I was scared and confused. I didn't know what was happening," she told the network. "I didn't hurt Hannah ever. That's not who I am. I don't deserve this." Do you think Lindsay is innocent, or do you think she is where she belongs?